Facebook Live. Where are you? There you are.
It's a bit more space. Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to be able to go live on Facebook.
Oh,
It's still going to go on Spotify and YouTube. So,
not a problem.
All right.
oh, I got one. I know I do. I found it the other day. Boom. Hello,
Hey!
hello. Welcome to the OutLoud Podcast in conjunction with the OutLoud Anthology with Red or Green Book. I am here today with my co-host Dougie Fresh,
How you
aka
doing?
Scala. And today we have our guest
Yep.
Genevieve Ray from across the pond. Hello.
Hey!
Um, it's not allowing me to go live on Facebook, which is actually funny because Genevieve was just telling me a story. What's going on with your Facebook?
I'm working on a brand new book, and the last post I put up was about my book. So I don't know if I just did it a little bit too spicy, but at the minute I'm suspended on Facebook and I can't get back in. So I am so tempted for when we're finally done and I'm with Poetic Edge Publishing, to have a little note saying, "This is a book they would not let you read." I don't know. I've annoyed Zuckerberg in some format. But I've been going with a hashtag that I'm going to stick with, which is start of the year cancelled, end of year verified. That's what's going on here. We're
That's
gonna flip this around.
that is awesome. So, for our American guests who may not be as familiar with your work, familiar with you, um, we connected because you are a member of Tesoro, the Worldwide Women's Poetry Network. Um, tell our uh, customer base, I guess you would say consumer base, a little bit about you.
Yeah. Hey, absolutely beautifully put by Chucky. I am a Tesoro woman, and actually, semi-officially, it will be formally announced. I'm going to be taking care of the UK branch of Tesoro very shortly. So bringing together all our wonderful ladies and friends on that side to put more live productions and live opportunities up. But what is me? What's my history? So I started actually off in the theatre world and never thought I was really suitable for being on stage, being loud, quite energetic, quite round. I was like, there's only so many characters I can play. So I used to do a lot of directing, and that's kind of really what I did for the best part of like 12 to 15 years. Going all the way to university, I went to Goldsmiths, which is like the artsy university. It's the one that everyone's like, hey, do you remember the year before when someone ate the head off a bat and you go back through the years and you're like, I don't know who did this. I think you guys just stole a story from Ozzy Osbourne, but okay. Uh, and then I did live theatre in London. So poetry was not really like the schema or the plan, but I was writing it in the background, doing bits and pieces. And then the pandemic happened. And like all of us, I found things to do and fulfill my time. It was actually the loss of George Floyd that kind of made this thing happen. I wrote a piece, put it on my Facebook, funnily enough, and it exploded from having, you put the post here, you might get 5 likes, 10 likes, 12 or something at best. Suddenly it was like 1,000. I went, oh, okay. People across my life, from back to senior school and junior school, from my old teachers, colleagues I worked with, going, we didn't know you wrote like this. I was like, wow, did you guys really not know? And it suddenly made me realize how much of myself I'd been hiding behind and kind of covering over, I think, for a very long time. So I started writing and sharing, posting, submitting, and people of our wider community, starting with the UK and then spreading out to USA, Asia, Africa, and many, many other places, started picking up. And from there, by the time we started getting out and about from outside of the pandemic, so start getting out of the closeout point, I had a miniature career. I was going to performances, things from like David Lee Osiris to presentations with part of Stride Against Racism. Stride Against Racism is a Gloucestershire-based organisation that basically supports trying to re-educate, so get into schools, getting into environmental issues, but also like supporting organisations in the region to kind of cut down on what is a problematic, very, 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 very far right part of that part of England. And I'm actually co-chair, which completely happened at random, as always with Jen. Hey, we need to do a thing. Can somebody help? I'll do it. Me, I'll do it. I'll take care of it. Why not? And here I am. But they started doing lots of different artistic events, so I would support them with funding artists and getting new opportunities. Working with the London base and starting to work with Process Productions, all sorts of organisations everywhere. My career, as it currently stands, is all based on working with people who probably are tied to various parts of my identity. And as I've been writing, the more of my identity I've become aware of. But also because I want to hear the stories of everybody. I've always have. That's always been the fascination for me as a child. And to be honest, now that almost it's like half written on my forehead at the minute, autism is confirmed. I think that might be my special interest is other people and their lives and their stories, and how can I be part of making sure those stories shine brightly. I've educated. I tutored young people in Luton. And the adventure keeps happening. And for this coming year, March/April, it's probably looking at the end of March, is when the book finally comes out. And it really is just a history of when I started that pandemic and the initial explosion to where I am now, and every twist and turn that went along the way. And that's basically me.
Hey, that's amazing.
Thank you.
An amazing curriculum vitae that you have there. That's a new word I learned from Ebony Stewart. So, from the work that I've seen of yours, you very much mirror a lot of the things that I do, talking about the political aspect, the racism aspect, things like that. And some people think that it is central to the Americas, which is funny to me because I pay attention to the news and stuff, and there's been an explosion, especially with like Islamophobia over in UK.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
and you got your far right. I seen everything when they were going through Brexit and all that. Um, I think it's fun to see the juxtaposition between the two sides of the ponds and knowing that like it's all um, we're all fighting the same fight.
Here, here. Absolutely here, here. And I think it has different connotations, but I think it's all about how well do you fit into the adjacent. Oh, here we go. I'm using some silly words here, but it's just kind of like, oh, I like the rhythm of them. But like the adjacency to homogeny, if you will. So like, how far away are you from what is considered normal?
Right.
Quite far on this side, but sometimes if you can be that loud because you stand so much in opposition to what they expect, you can then take on fights that other people wouldn't because they would be so worried about losing power or losing safety and stuff. They were power and safety I never had.
Sure.
So I can be that beacon if I need to be.
Yes. And it's funny because you said that yours was brown, round, and loud. And I've also referred to myself as a triple threat, being black, queer, and woman. So I like I'm just a problem all the way around. Um, and Douglas also does some political pieces. He does a lot of obscure work as well, but he does do um, the good stuff. And it's refreshing to see,
Yeah, I mean,
even when you.
on that token, if you want to talk about, socio-political stuff, I have a book coming out this
Ooh,
month.
everyone's got books coming out. Let's hear about it.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, it's co-authored. It's a co-written chapbook with another poet named Jacob R. Moses.
Ooh.
And it's called Tuesday Night Beats.
Hmm.
And it's 8 poems that were written collaboratively over the course of a year.
Oh wow.
And they all have to do with political disaffection and societal ills, and also uh, I guess the personal tribulations of both of us, and kind of how those things weave together into the larger, macrocosm of society.
Ah,
That's kind of what the book is about.
All
Sounds
right.
awesome. That sounds really awesome.
Yeah, and it comes out. We actually, speaking of the UK, we actually have it was published by a Scottish press, um, called Like a Blot from the Blue.
Ben!
The editor is he's an international beat poet laureate.
Yes.
So it's coming to that's my, 2 cents on that. But yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes. And it's good to see that everyone is giving a voice to the issues that need to be had. Um, the anniversary of January 6th is tomorrow. They will be
I
Oh,
know.
certifying
Yeah, yeah.
certifying the election. I'm sure it's going to go perfectly fine this year because they won. But yeah. But aside from that, so Genevieve, before you got kicked off of Meta, you I seen the post that you have a book coming out.
mhm.
Um, Tell us about that.
Sure. So as I listen, I just think it's wonderfully ironic. I might need to like move a poem here and there, because we're working on the main manuscript just to kind of fit it in. Like this is part of the story now. So it's called Free Roaming Adult Woman. As I said, the irony of being locked down with that, very funny. And really it's about the fact that I tried to put a collection together for ages, but I couldn't find a decent reason. And I think, and actually just talking with both of you now about your books and bits and pieces you've been working on, like, it's so much easier when you've got something that's like a through line. Because I think people in general, I've had lots of my sort of close friends, some that probably will be watching like immediately, who are like, oh, I don't read a lot of poetry, but I'll read yours. Da, da, da. And I think sometimes it's easy when it's not just a kind of collection for the sake of collection, but like there's a through line, there's a reason. Why is this period? And I kept taking in what people were saying to me, like what the impressions they had of me. I had a contingent of central to the lower south continent young men who kept being really surprised that I wasn't attached. Like there ain't no rings on these fingers and no children in the background. I wake up when I want to and all the rest of it. And it was blowing their minds. And twice there's a poem in it called Mama Havisham, which is literally the poem starts say hello to your children, man. I'm looking around going, what children? Where? Who gave me children? What the? Because they were assuming so much and presenting straight onto me of a particular persona because I couldn't possibly be an academic woman, with a master's degree considering doing a doctorate and not attached to somebody or have my own property but not have somebody else taking care of it. I couldn't possibly have this or this or this because the framing that they had was so limited. And so a joke started coming into my head, and it just came in one particular piece about being which I will perform later, free roaming adult woman. Like, what does that mean? And it basically means like everything is my problem. My mum taught me a statement recently, Ndaba Zako, because my mum's from Zimbabwe, which means it is your problem to have, which really, really translates to isn't it wonderful to have a problem you can handle? Best of luck with that. And I love it. So in a way, that's I guess the theme of it is in Damazako, like all these things that I've been able to gain and grow as a person because I went through them fighting for my mental health and my neurology, fighting for my own education, restarting, failing upwards in a like kind of route way. And I caught up with some girlfriends yesterday that I went to. So in Britain, we have A level where it's age wise about the same era sort of spacing as you would have sort of upper high school, so kind of similar age. But we tend to either move on from school or we have a different section, which we call sixth form. These are the girls I went to sixth form with, different part of town, different part of my growing up area, and they've all had very different directions and all meeting each other now in our 30s. What people chose to do and how much they kept to the thing they said when they were 15, 16 years old, in comparison to where we are now. Some of them do have the children, some of them do have the husband, some of them do have the white picket fence, some of them have gone a completely different direction. And there's me going, yeah, guys, I'm doing a podcast tomorrow. And I'm like, yep, I haven't completely gone off track. That was what I said I was going to do. Also feels awesome. I kept the promises to my 17, actually 17, 18-year-old self. The things I said I was going to do, completely different. As I said, I thought it was going to be London stage. Kind of have done that, but differently. That's where the book celebrates. It's that kind of, if you do keep true to yourself as well, what do you find that you actually do achieve? And what is like a complete surprise? You go, oh, didn't expect that, but okay. And it's celebrating all of that.
I gotta tell you, when you were on Meta. And normally I hate the drama behind it, but I loved your posts of people jumping in your DMs and the responses that you were giving them. Because they were like, "Are you married yet? And do you have kids?" And it was very funny. So I hope that kind of found its way into that collection as well. Um,
Wholeheartedly.
yeah.
Wholeheartedly.
Dougie,
Oh,
first, you got any
I actually wanted
questions?
to ask you about this.
Go for those.
What is what are the, you have an earlier book called Virago, right?
Oh yeah, so Virago was something that it never quite got to the end of the rhythm of it. I kind of then started incorporating it into more spoken word stuff. But what Virago was gonna be was kind of the same thing, really. It was kind of earlier in the stream when I didn't have as much stamped off, so like things I didn't know, medication I didn't have,
Uh-huh.
identity I didn't really have yet, and it was more of a kind of like, what fight have I got going forward? So kind of running forward with like this kind of like shield and sword, which I even this Christmas I've started to realize I've started to place the sword and the shield down a little bit because I'm like, um, why am I fighting on my own? And I'm gonna quote send me a conversation I had with a friend recently where I was like, she, quick speed thing. They were talking about the fact of like consistently having to fight forward on everything, and I suddenly realized you don't have to because I'm here for you. And so it's her and her and her and her and her and her. This person has lots of friends. You don't have to do all of that on your own. And I think that's probably this is why I love this question. Virago was at a point when I was like, all the fight is mine. I must do it all by myself. And actually, recently, particularly, but also becoming a Tesoro woman, I'm not on my own. Not at all. There's loads of people have similar identities, similar experiences to me. Why am I thinking that I'm the only one who has to fight? Well, actually, there's loads of people. Can join fights and make we stand together as a phalanx, really. And that's one of the things that's been. Oh, hello. That's one of the things that's been the most interesting. But that's where that was gonna go. But I
Okay.
also feel like I just cut your question. What else did you want to ask on that?
No, I was wondering if, I mean, so Virago, so you're saying you I was wondering what the evolution was between what you were working on since Virago to your current book that you're coming out with, like what the evolution between that, like between that period of time was.
Oh yeah, 100. Yeah, 100%. So that answer and working now with Poetic Edge and working with Ashley, one of the things is redeveloping my work with an editor that I get on with one exceedingly well, but also I'm kind of relearning how to edit. Because I realized there was a limitation to like how technically good was I as a poet. What and some of the pieces that I know I'm going to do, they've changed quite a bit now in the book. There were things that worked brilliantly as spoken word because they'd have that theatrical technicality of
Sure, sure.
think on this dramatic pause and that thing, but were they selling that on the page? Could a person have never met me and still had the same experience? Was one of the things I wanted to learn.
Ah,
Um, but also within that 2 year period, the events I was getting involved in. So I was doing a lot of things online. There is a strong performance scene, particularly in London and some of the southeast and actually the north. Funny enough, talking about Finland with your new book. But the middle space and sort of like slightly east or west of it in the south, not very much or not much that people think of. So I started going to different events and being involved with stuff and realizing the scope of what I was writing and who I was meeting was making me realize that one, by no means on my own at all, just slightly different focuses of our fights. Two, there was ways to incorporate more of the theatre and more of the old literature training than I thought. And three, I was meeting people who, in a touch to, the whole point of some of the connections of this podcast, I started meeting people who I'd not met because of my slightly suburban growing up and going, oh, near familiarity. The thing of word, you have words I don't know the words of. Thank you. I didn't know what to call this thing that I've been feeling inside for a very long time. Help. So I started to change how I viewed myself. And weirdly, which I don't think 17, 18-year-old Jen would have called herself, I'm starting to think I am somewhat normal, which is weird. I still don't feel comfortable with that, but it's like, no, I was just not meeting enough people who shared experience with me. But if there is a blessing, and I will call it that, of this community particularly, oh my God, my people. I found my people finally. And I feel
Yeah,
normal, safe, happy, fit, in a better mental health space than I've ever been in my entire life. It's awesome,
that's
truly.
great. Yeah, I actually I read an excerpt of yours
Oh yeah,
from Tiger Skin, and it's very rap-like. And I've been getting into British rap lately,
nice.
and I discovered this artist named Little Sims. You probably know who they are.
Yes.
Um, Fantastic work. I mean, she's also an actress, also. Um, I've been getting into, yeah, underground British rap, listening to the BBC sometimes, and she appeared on it one time, and I looked her up on Spotify. And you have a very, yeah, your the construction, the internal rhyming is very like rap like,
You.
uh, particularly with Tiger Skin. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I'm truly that means the world to me. My cheeks are meeting my eyeshadow right now in the pinkness of it all. Thank you. That's awesome feedback. Thanks, man.
I give it to you because I tried to do the London rap thing, Central C and all that, and I got made fun of for it. But it was Drake's album that he had a lot of the London on. That was the one I was like, oh, these aren't that bad. And then I tried to listen, and yeah, we'll leave it there. But anyway, um, so again, like I said, this is a very queer forward podcast. So obviously, you do not have to answer any questions if you do not want to. But do you mind talking about how your queer identity plays into maybe the new book or your artistry at all?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny, and I'll say it's funny. For a long time, I didn't think that I was queer, and I was like, oh, I can't possibly be because I have this crush on this guy and crush on that guy. I've actually done two things have happened, which I'll be careful about. But one, I went like a backtrack of the back catalogue, and a lot of the men that I've dated are actually somewhere in the queer spectrum as well. I've recently been with a non-binary person; they were awesome, but also I remember actually back in that same second sixth form. Talking to a bisexual friend, and she was explaining her experiences and stuff like that. And I remember feeling jealous, which is a very strange experience to have if you haven't got a connection. I was like, I'm jealous of your bisexuality. What? Wait a minute, what? What am I telling myself? And only through starting to communicate and date people across and truly across the gender spectrum did I realize pansexuality is the best way to explain it. It is literally all about vibe. I can get so drawn into somebody's vibe. How that splits out, it depends. As I said, I think it's something I'm still exploring. But this last year, actually, I've dated people, literally men, women, non-binary people across the spectrum, gently and slowly, because I am so dedicated to my own individuality and stuff. And also, I can be a bit of a mess of like, oh, you're angry with me. Whoops, sorry, I didn't realize. Sorry, 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 sorry. Not good at that. I made a joke with my friends that I sometimes go to theme parks with. I'm like, I would make so much better a dad than I would a mum because I'm like, go talk to your dad. You were bad. Listen to your mother. Go your room. I'll get the shotgun. I'm not very good at the kind of other bits and pieces, but I've always, and funny enough, like across all things, like I've always played the kind of more masculine figure in things. Like whenever we were playing stuff in theatre, like I'd be more than happy to play the dude. I was like, yeah, absolutely fine. Why not? So another friend clocked me and said that maybe I should I'm demigirl. So now because I quite like the idea of the Caribbeanness of it all, I'm like I'm a girl dem, yeah. Kind of, I'm even playing a little bit
Yeah.
with the non-binary a bit, and I think, and it will come up as I'm already playing in my head about something I could do for you guys that would be fun. Like my whole approach to femininity, I would not say I'm a particularly feminine person. I've heard friends who say, "Well, you're more feminine than I am because you wear more makeup." Yeah, but that's because I like drag. I'll be frank. If I'm going to put makeup on, it's a whole slap. Because I'll be more as much likely to make myself green as I am to put on something nice. I like a dress because I can twirl in it. And I think, to be honest, and it definitely does come up in the book, more than being in a situation of how I perceive myself, I think I've been clocked by other people. I've been with ex-boyfriends, ex-girlfriends, ex things, and people, and two of us together, and I've had my hair looking quite short, and I've had people clock me and say, "When is that two blokes?" I'm like, "Wait a minute, hey, hey here, dude, come on." I even once I went to Pride, right, and I got clocked by these two guys behind me, and I could hear from like the way they were talking stuff like kind of energy we had here, and they thought I was a drag queen because I'd gone too girly. I was like, "Look here, I can't win." And I know it sounds all terrible, but for me, it's the wonderful pageantry of it all. Because at the end of the day, I am Genevieve Ray, whatever happens. I have a wonderful Mahir Peristoni said that I've got a quite husky voice. I'm like, do I? Okay. I know that there's a lot of things just by being myself, completely myself, that I break a lot of the gender expectations. What it does mean though is I am a big softie because I'm a Cancerian. I definitely gonna do that piece for you. I have a high energy. I love people to pieces, and put the right movie in front of me, and I will cry like nobody's business. I also am the one who, if you're on a night out and somebody starts on you and you feel in danger, I am behind you or in front of you. I am the fisticuffs. Always have been. I I don't see it as quite as grey as that, and that's what I mean about why the community's been amazing. It's like, oh yeah, people talk about themselves where it's the rules are not that solid. Why would they need to be? It's the fact of people being able to make fun of themselves in their own writing, or make fun of the situations and really discuss it in a way that not accessible by breaking or cutting down over your points, but actually trying to open the eyes of people who may not have had the same experiences and go, hey, normality, you normal, I normal. And one of the reasons for the book, and I've done this very deliberately, is about this pink, very deliberately, because a lot of poetry books are grey, brown, and black. And I was like, I want to be eye-soaringly pink because I don't even like pink that much, even though I'm wearing it like today because now it's become branding. I just want to see people go, oh, that's a lot of pink. I'm like, yeah, wait till you get to the book. Because I'm actually challenging myself of like, even I don't even enjoy the colour and I still can get myself to read it while other people do. And I want them to laugh at that. There's the picture on the front of it is quite alien, and it just plays with all those kind of ideas of like identity is so much 30% what you think of yourself, 70% what other people think of yourself, but also actually it's 80% of really what you present of doing that, all combined together in this wonderful mush of I exist in a body somewhere and people can see it. Um, and what I think and what they think probably don't meet at all in the middle, but who cares? The construction of that is why psychology and philosophy even exist. I hope that was very detailed. I apologize. I can get me to
No,
shut
no,
up if
no.
you
It
need
was
me.
great. It was great. And I don't want to gloss over it, because you did say at one point that you felt good in this era right now that you're in, that you're happy and you're finding yourself and it feels good. And I just, you know what? I'm so happy to hear that. I'm happy that you're happy. Um, and it's rare when you're around poets because we get so caught up in our dark feelings because we want to be the dark brooding artists. um and I love that there's always this happiness around you. And so I'm very happy that you're feeling good in this season.
Thank you.
And I hope that it continues on for you. um you mentioned being green, so I have to ask you, have you seen Wicked?
Oh, and I loved it. I did such a thing that's so me. I when Arrivo finished and that last note and it just went bam, I literally said out loud and it was so loud it echoed across the cinema and this place was not empty by any stretch of the imagination. God damn. I went and I just went, fold into my chair once again, Genevieve, way too loud. Um no one looked around either. They kind of like quietly nodded, agreed around me. I was like, good, I'm not in trouble. Because it's Bedford. That's not necessarily it's not necessarily the quietest or the loudest place in the UK, but it's definitely not the kind of place you shout out "God damn" at the end of a film. Um, it's just me being me. Yeah, I loved it. And I think they nailed so much. I'm dying. How many times, one, how many times have you seen it? And two, like, what's your thoughts on
So
it?
I'm going the illegal route and trying to watch it on my Fire Stick. And yeah, I haven't been able to get through it, but I've seen like the originals. I have the songs and stuff. I might do it tonight. I might do it today. Like figure it out. But I'm really excited. But I know you said you were a theater kid, so I was like, I know you went and saw it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what's
Uh,
funny about the Wicked movie though is that
Mhm.
it's exactly almost the same length as the Broadway play.
Is it?
Yeah,
Wow. But it's only the first
it's
part,
part
right?
one.
There's
Yeah, part one.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
I
awesome.
It is. I'm glad that they split it. Now I've seen it. I'm glad they split it because actually there is so much in part two, and I just hope they keep on the same trajectory about being like careful with it all. That is like it's speed runs. I think I wrote this in a comment somewhere. I was like, I totally buy now. Why? Because I've seen the play twice, and like the second half after you get past, get beyond interval, it's like somebody has a stopwatch. Because my God, do they run through scenes? They're like, run! Wow,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
want
yeah.
to take a moment here to just be like sad about that moment. Can I? No, we guys, they're going to charge us like extra 5,000 if we stay in the theater any longer. Keep going. And like, so by the end of it, it's like, ta-da! You're like, okay. So actually, if they take their time and we have a moment to like mourn, without spoiling anything, mourn some characters, that would be great. It's just
Yeah.
like, it
Wait,
really fun.
you saw it on the West End?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
with and Dina,
With
because it was just by
Adina?
luck. Yeah,
What? Oh my God.
my aunt wanted to see something with me, and so because I'm really close to like certain quite a few different parts of my family, and one of my aunts wanted to see it, so we went to see it together while she was studying and I was studying. So this is back in the Goldsmiths days, and yeah, we saw it with Adina and what's his name? The Fiero who was in Coyote Ugly. That was outstanding. Like not unsurprisingly, that was outstanding. But yeah, we were so lucky
Yeah.
to have got tickets for that. So yeah, with the original West End crowd, audience,
Oh
West
wow.
End staff. So
That
yeah,
must have been something. Wow.
oh, it
Wow.
was
Yeah.
fabuloso. I think Cynthia particularly has done a really good job of doing a very different Elphaba. She's
Sure, sure.
much more subtle, a little bit more British about it. And yeah, like everyone's going on about Rihanna, and I agree. She's completely mental. I'm surprised. I'll be interested to see how she deals with the second half because second half she's not in it as much without spoiling anything. So it'd be interesting to see like how she has the same kind of power.
Mhm.
Because there's some really beautiful moments with Glinda that are like quite subtle actually. So yeah, I love the musical generally. Like it's like my second favorite because just on staging alone and it's like theatrical quality and like it's a very very good play
Yeah.
by
Sure.
itself. So yeah.
It's funny. So somebody posted um on Twitter and then I like screenshot it and they said we should get the voice actor from Frozen an AI rendition of her doing Wicked. And it was like, do you not know that Idina Menzel does both? Like, what?
Oh, oh, the children, bless the children.
Wes,
Oh
like,
no.
how do you not know? Like, I'm in love with her. You know what I mean? Like, ever since Rent, like, I
Thank
went back and I was
you.
like, what is she in? Like,
Ah, yes.
I saw that and I was like, are they fucking kidding me right now?
Every now and again, you'll get those kind of posts where it's like, "Oh, apparently I have been around too long in
Yeah.
the art scene." I'm like, "Did you not know? Oh, I have things to tell you, my dear summer child." But then again, you get some. This is what I used to love about training my young people in Luton. Like, they sometimes they'd have these ideas. And I'm like, you are 15 years younger than me. How has it taken me this long to realize that? How dare you? You've just come out of an egg, and there you are with this. Like sometimes they would cut like, in our lessons, so we did them on the evenings. They would come up with something. I'm like, "Do you think that's a good idea, Jen?" I'm like, "Yes, I think it's great." You, it's taken me 15 years. So to be fair to the sweet summer children, sometimes they have some moments where you're like, "Dang, okay."
You got it. You got it somewhere. So you said musical genre is one of your favorites. What's your favorite musical?
It's just gonna say, oh, see, and particularly to the American side, it's just gonna be like, oh, really? So basic. I purely on staging alone and like how the musical artwork works for it, like the leitmotifs and stuff. It's actually Hamilton. That said, I say that said, actually seeing it for the first time in London, I was like, there are some problems with like how it's staged, but like I listened to the music, traveling to Italy with a friend of mine when it came out, pretty much. And like, I was just sitting there going, I have never seen a soundtrack that is that hard put together. Like, it's like, here's a leitmotif, here's a leitmotif, here's a leitmotif. Like, the way the opera's written, with like you've got this bassoon here that says this character, and that flute there that says that character, and that violin set says, watch out, the villain is coming. All of that across a very strong album, and then seeing it, and I was like, and then seeing some of the staging ideas of it and having the whole turntable, which as a theatre major who's done the stuff, I'm like, whenever I see turntables, they look really cool until you remember what it's like to actually direct on those things. It's like, hey, Steve, come back. He's like, no, we've got to wait for the next rotation. He's still going round. Come back, come back. There you are. Jump off. So like, depending how fast you set them, you just watch your staff fall off. You're like, woo! Like, keep your footing. Don't go backwards. No, there we go. You've smashed into each other. Well done, lads. Because I'm directing, so like literally going, put yourself here. The one, sorry, this is off point, but it is funny. The one thing I heard from stage staff once, because Goldsmiths, that's where I studied all of this, was those crane stages. I forget what you call them now. So where like the stage is like set like that are the worst for actors. Like they lose ankles because you got to walk straight, but also walk like this. And it's like, don't do that unless you really hate your actors. I was like, duly noted. I'll just wait till I meet someone who are really mean to me. I'm like, right, we're going to crane the stage, you bastards. So yeah, turntables are not fun either, because it's like, right, keep your footing, don't get dizzy, off we go. So having the whole place set like that, I'm like, you guys work hard. You've got to place that chair there while it's still moving. You must like talk to each other quite a lot, just to make sure you don't smash into each other at the best of times. And I think that's the thing with me, like with musical theatre, film and stuff like that. I love the technicality stuff as much as I love like the drama of it all. So I'm like, I know that was hard to put together. It might look smooth, but you missed that by a second, and you just killed someone. Well done. And my bachelor's degree was literally all of it, like the history of it, the technicality of it, the how do you direct, how do you make music, like the whole shebang. And Hamilton is incredibly well put together. Like it's really tight. As a big machine, if you will.
Yeah, I actually, I have a theater bachelor's degree also, but
Nice.
from Brooklyn College. I mean, your education was probably a lot better than mine.
Oh, no, me.
But I learned a lot. I mean, I learned a lot about like what you're mentioning, like stagecraft and scenic design and lighting and sound and all that stuff. And I actually I did freelance theater for a while, but now I'm in IT. So I totally like pivoted. But yeah, I was doing that for a number of years. I did like off Broadway and stuff like that. But like running like board operating and soundboard operating and stuff. And that was fun. That was a lot of fun. So I could totally understand your passion for it.
Thank you. I mean, that's the thing. Like, my joke now to other people who've done it for a while is like, "Thank you for your service," because we all know how hard it works. You gain like 17 grey hairs from like trying to run like the London thing of like you finish a show at like 11, running for your last train and be like, "Love you all. See you next show." What? Like out the door. You did a great job there. We'll talk about it next week. See ya. Like that kind of thing. Like when you were doing it and like both running the boards and treading them. Like, what was your favorite thing?
My favorite thing about well, I really, I mean, I just liked like doing like I loved like Tech Week, because you would basically be like, you would like run through all the cues and you would do like a cue to cue and you would get, you would like pre-program the board and then you would like, I mean, I mean, working with the actors, doing like, having them stand in a certain position and you would have to like augment the light and you would have to like change the gels and do all that stuff. Like that was really riveting. Like I love doing that.
Oh, the true craft and artistry. Oh man, that's so cool. Mate, we're gonna have to talk at some point, like just like go off about like old memories because it's a trip. It's an expensive trip, but it's a trip. I found spoken words taking care of me a little bit better than theatre ever did, but I don't miss the time of it, and I think it's a great way, however long one does it, for also gaining like entrepreneurial skills at speed. Like you want to learn how to truly become a business person quickly, be an events manager or work in theatre, because it's like, hey, we have no money, let's go woo! You're like, you make miracles happen. You have no choice. But then you get all the fun things, like you said, like you're playing with a lighting board, and it's like, oh, your LEDs can do multiple colors. You're like, oh, I can have blue and purple. Oh my god! And then you're fiddling around. It's like, I don't need this, says the director. Like, I don't care. Green, yellow, green, blue. You like suddenly realize there's quite a lot.
Yeah, but you know what though? I think lighting board operators and like set design. I mean, they don't have it easy, but I think the person who has it the toughest is the stage manager, obviously.
Oh, thank God.
Forget
Yes.
about it. Stage manager, oh man, I couldn't imagine doing that. Like, I mean, you have to have a certain kind of like mindset and like executive skills, really executive skills to do that job, you know?
Hey, I would say so he's going to kill me if he finds out about it later. But like, there was somebody who did stage manager and opted to be like the main stage manager when I was doing that course. And I was so the younger version of it when I was 17, 18. And the man was like, he was an adult in comparison to the rest of us who were kids, but not actually like he was the same age as us. And I did do a Facebook check. I wasn't quite a Facebook stalk because we're both on the same thing. And I was like, please say you still followed the trick, you still did it because you were the best stage manager anyone could dream. Like he was chilled out and practically, even though we were all wearing the same uniforms and stuff like that, suited and booted at the best of times, he did
Yeah.
stay at it. And I was like, yes, person's name, do it. And it was like, he had a picture of like one of the bigger theatres that he'd been working in. I was like, ah, thank goodness. If the industry had lost you, that would have been the loss of the universe because he
Exactly.
was
Yeah.
so good. And he could get the stupidest of people. Like some of the guys who would like to do the stage stuff when I was younger were like, they were DOS merchants at the best of times sometimes, and he was like, "Guys, can you just get it sorted out?" He can mess around with them, but he can also like just straighten them out. Stage managers who know what they're doing. Some of the big girls that I worked with in Goldsmiths was just like, fight them. I dare you. You will be off stage and you will be put in darkness. See ya. They're worth being paid, but like what staff stage staff can do, and I feel like when I go to events and spoken word events and ones I set up myself, even it's like treat the staff kindly. Think about all the things they're trying to match to make this look as seamless as it does. You know, how many times have we all walked in a situation where the mics are off and you're like, "Huh, forget that then, I'm doing
Yeah.
this live." You know, that you if you work with them, they don't forget that. That's actually been one of the best experiences of the last couple of years as well, is organizations who remembered me and gone, "Hey, you were really great to work with as a person, forget the poetry." I'm like, "Hey, 15 years training, I know what it's like. It sucks when people think they, can walk into a space and disrespect you. You've put
Yeah.
hours into this." And it's why I'm so big into like, hey, tell me what you need. Do you need a bio? Do you need a thing? Do you need this? Do you need to shout it here? Do it there? Not release until this coincides, because been there, done that, followed that, and worked with incredible people who are dedicated and they are doing this to passion. They pay themselves as well, definitely. They're not stupid. But they make sure like they have a rule and setup because they are here to protect everybody.
Right.
You've got to back those humans because they are the ones who will make sure you don't get electrocuted. They are the
Yep.
ones who go, hey, you can have those 15 minutes. We've all been in that situation where somebody also was a bit of a mess and like, so we've got an extra 5 minutes. Do you want them? I'm like, you remember that coffee from 15 minutes ago? Yep, of course I can have it. Thank you very much. You're not doing it for that reason. You're doing it because they're another human being. But hey, tat is tat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Um, do you have any plans of merging those two parts of you? Like, are you looking like at a one woman show, or what plans do you got?
Hells to the yeah. Oh, 100%. When I first started working on the book, I didn't think that until I was performing so many little pieces, but making sure they were like protected. And that's what's been so great with working with Ashley. Like literally, like the reason I say Ashley so much is they're gonna be like, "Hey, stop talking about me." But the thing of it is, like, I literally, me and my publisher have meetings together to do editorials, and they're the most fun in the universe. Like, we'll spend 3 hours working on pieces, or like 2 hours or whatever, and we'll be just laughing our heads off the entire time. It's been heaven. And they know this. I'm speaking to them tomorrow. They're well aware of this. So like how much I'm grateful, to the point that I've asked them to put their bio at the back of the book. I'm like, you've been so much a part of the journey of creating this. I don't want your name to get lost in this. You've been amazing. And in that sort of thing, I think there's so much to this story. I want to be able to do my whole thing of improving and playing and chatting to the audience and doing those kind of things, because there's two other jobs I would have done, big dream jobs I would have done if I hadn't gone down this track. Number one would have been comedy. because I do like a bit of a laugh and I love laughing at myself. And the other one would have been making roller coasters, but I'm not that good at maths. And you know what? You get that slightly wrong and you kill somebody. I'm like, nope, not putting myself under that. So, whoops, I've played roller coaster tycoon and gone, oh, you're not meant to go that fast. Okay, noted. Don't do that with real human beings, children. That's not a good idea. But like, I love the theatre of like a dark ride. It's like, turn them this way, they see this light, turn them that way, boo, there we go. Like all of that is theatre. It's still that sort of thing. So yeah, I think the idea I played with 6 months ago, and I actually had friends come and see it, and like we put a little bit of money to it, which I then saved towards the book. Is I tried it out online, and it worked better than I expected. So I don't mind giving a little bit away. I had this idea of if I did Free Roaming Adult Woman as a stage show, what I would do is split the show literally smack in the middle. So have your old interval either side of it. First half, they're actually in the dressing room with me, and I'm getting ready for the show. And most of that is about that kind of lifting, and because the book is split into 5 parts. So it's like mental health, identity, belonging, and it is that kind of how do you put yourself back together, quote unquote, after you've not been very well. You know, what do you need in your life to be better, and how do you work through them? Because I think a lot of people spend a lot of life, particularly for any emotional and social issues and stuff like that, trying to do it all at once. It's like, hey, let's get a new partner, get a new house, get a new car, get a new thing. Like, whoa, baby, you need a project plan for that. You know, do it in order. And I'm not suggesting this is the order to do it. It's just the order worked for me. Like, needed to work on the mental health and the physical health before I could do anything else. Then I could look at my identity and realize, hey, queer, actually neurodivergent. They came with that when I realized, okay, this is me without the mental health. This is me regardless. This is happy-go-lucky Jen when she's better. This is me when I've got friends around me and the right women around me, the right men around me, the right non-binary people around me, you know, that lift me up and keep lifting me up. Okay, so that's who I am when I have the support I need around me. And the book is literally split up like that. I would do that. So the first half would all be like, put those things in place because you shouldn't be on your own. You aren't an island, but also you're not an island because you deserve to be taken care of and loved in whatever format that means to you. And that includes your faith as well, if you have it. You have a right to space and safety and respect and, you know, living in the order you want to live in. Who dares tell you who to be? So that would be the first half, and I'd literally be doing the slap at the same time and making jokes to the audience and going, I'm thinking of doing this, but I'm not sure about that, as if they're like my producer or something. And then the second half, and I did do it, and on the stage, and I had my costume literally at my feet, and I went, when I said, everyone piss off, I need to go, I need to flip over. And then I would literally, and I mean, go full Hello Dolly at it, open up the thing as if the show starts again as the proper show, and now adding all the extra bits. What is love? What is being out and about? You want fame? What is fame? And that then being the second half of the show. I love how many people are coming in as well. Hello. And yeah, like that kind of, okay, so you've got a grounding of who you are. Now it's time to put on the sparkly things. And I've got like one dress in particular over there that's like particularly spangly, if I fit in it again, that I'd be wearing. That would be the stage show. And it would be comedy. It would be humor. It'd be self-reflection. And I would actually want to play with the audience a little bit, not too much, because always that kind of ruin the immersion of it all. But that's the sense of nothing that, and I guess the end theme of that, similar to the book, is nothing that I've done in the last 5 years is magic. It's hard work. It's a lot of failing upwards. It's a lot of confusion. And there's even, I've even got written in jokes in my head of like the lighting designer and I have a disagreement. I'm like, oh, and I step to the side and it's like, in darkness. I'm like, well, great. And I use it maybe for like a costume change or something like that. And step back and like, aha, gotcha. Kind of thing. Those kind of things of like playing with expectation of going, nothing that I'm doing here. I'm actually the magician sleeves are open here. Nothing I'm doing here is actually a secret or magic. It's just hard work, a lot of hard work and willingness to do it in order, which sometimes is the hardest thing to do of all, because it takes so much longer than people think it does. If that makes sense. I think that's the best way to
explain it. And I hope that you follow through with that because it sounds amazing. It sounds
Thank you.
Now we've come to the point where you have your 15 minutes to display your work and things like that. Can you give us the name of your book again?
Sure. So it's going to be called Free Roaming Adult Woman.
free roaming adult woman. All right. So I want you to take the next 15 minutes. You can read whatever you want. Like I said, you're not going to offend me. When I put it on Spotify, I say it's explicit. We say what the fuck we want. So it's okay. You can say whatever you want. But I am going to spotlight you, and then I'm going to mute myself and let you do your thing.
Thank you very much. And thank you for the opportunity. Hokey cokey. Hi, everybody. I was so tempted to start this with actually a bit of improv, so I think I will, really. So I want to call this my version of femininity. My version of femininity is a fascinating situation because when you look at my opportunities, my aspiration, my inspiration, it's surprisingly garish, but also glorious, as it's a simulation of the systems and the seeming of human identity. I look at the eyebrows I drew in a little bit earlier because my eyebrows are actually in half, a bit like my identity. Two nations meet together. One is hairy, one is not. And today I end up with something a little bit more like Cruella de Vil, going, I've gone for the highest drama of them all. How very theatrical. The place that I feel the most like myself. That identifier system, sensation, sensuality of... Wow, how do I explain it really? Why did I return from the front of the stage when I'd been so happy in the back part, thinking that my sizing and my systematic dedication, the way that I was the analyst and the administrator, the comforting mother, my Hermia when I did Shakespeare, still calls me Mama Jen. Well, the frankness was I couldn't get away from that drawing electricity. Those who like the stage and are comfortable with public speaking will tell you about this. If you want to know if a spoken word artist is meant to be a spoken word artist, ask them how they feel 10 minutes after holding onto the microphone. If they want to let go of it as soon as they can do, as if they've just been electrocuted sharply like an execution, they're right, they should move away from this. But if somehow they can't quite let it go, then maybe there's something for this. Because I remember the first time I was taken to a grand theatre, I was an cook, assistant, kind of steward thing, and they took us round when I got hired, this big place in Basingstoke, the Anvil Theatre, and I'd gone there multiple times and not realised it's actually a theatre in the round. If you don't know what that means means where it's like whoop, and the stage is in the middle. Because the version I'd seen of it always had the curtain set like that. So I thought it was a normal stage where you had your front section, your curtain, and your audience. And the staff member, who was my boss, taking me round, got me to stand in front of what was the orchestra pit. And the feel of electricity. Oh, baby, that was God. Oh, baby, that was God. I felt like I had been zipped into some sort of live wire that is humanity. There was no one there. The audience are visible. The orchestra gone. But the ghosts, if you think theatre is a haunted space, stayed present. And it held me to the spot for a second. And what would terrify many people, I was not afraid. I was excited. And I held on to that memory and then decided that I could not possibly be the one because I couldn't remember lines well enough and I needed help with this and I needed help with that. And then the world closed down and round we went again. In Hinduism, Taoism, and some parts of Shinto, there is a belief that time isn't actually straight, it's circular. And hey, what in this world is straight, really? The circles and circles. I went back down to day one, which was speak loudly, say how I feel, put it in some form of rhythm with a little bit of artistry that's stuck in this brain as it naturally is. Poetry is what I sound like, speaking like Genevieve. Not really. It is a translation to sound normal. I spoke as I normally do. I said the things I normally mean. And suddenly the world decided to listen. And I was back in front of a microphone again going, am I ready for this? Is this who I'm meant to be? This form of femininity, this... I don't think I have enough makeup in my box to be pretty enough for this. But they like it. And they love the ideas and they seem to love me. So why don't I just accept this as me and identity? Why don't I just scope and cope with this? And so I wrote pieces and pieces and pieces about everything. My political views on things, my emotion, my view of what is religion, my view of what is romance, what my view of mine. But not only me. And suddenly I meet other women exactly like me. Same political background, same racial heritage, same queer identity. Definitely the same bits and pieces of my health and mental health reckoning. I am so very normal. And there is a group of women, a Greek chorus of wonderful writers who are 20, 30, 40, 50 years older than me, who are saying those same stories and handing down one who then brings me into Tesoro as a sister and holds my hand. And I suddenly go, wow, I'm surrounded by sisters and siblings. This last year of meeting so many of my long-term now non-binary friends and realizing there's something to that for me as well. I become normal and I decide that, okay, fudge you all, let's go femme. I will be pink because it is unapologetic. I'll be pink because my mum has always noticed that it's actually a colour that quite suits me. Because so many people have such an abrupt reaction. Great, it's fierceness then. Blue was held for the Virgin Mary because it's soft and scintillating and motherly. And let me be abrasive in pink. Wear big sunglasses. Step in with bright red lipstick and be the one who leads my partners in a dance, regardless of their gender. And that then becomes Genevieve. And finally, this last year, the biggest gift of all, and why this time for this book is I am me. I look in a mirror and see a woman I recognize, one who was a mystery to me for so long, and a beautiful gift to whoever you are. See yourself in the mirror and know that friend. What a glory. And you'll find that they are multitudes. This was just a short, slightly longer improvised piece. I will now read you some short pieces that tie into it that come straight from the book. Slightly adapted because they've been edited, but just to bring you here with me. So, picking softly, I will go with Cancerian season. So, just so you know, I am a Cancer. For a long time, I didn't hold on to that identity because, once again, that softness didn't seem right to me. And I don't spend my entire time crying, but I do cry out loud. So maybe it is suitable. Cancerian season. Mane of vicious gold, eyes that smoulder with the hidden oranges, the under depths of roaring red. They always confuse her for a Leo. The salt water exposes rugged, crusty pincers. She tiptoes to say an aside before they get a chance to speak. They always confuse her for a Gemini. The torrent of rain masks incoming burnishing sun rays, 2 months of unbridled emotion, a period of grasses in their purest green. They always confuse her for being benign. Drowning in security claims hidden by the laws of the zodiac set, never knowing the perfection to cry out in July's ecstasies. They always confuse her for being soft-shelled. The call of the moon mother, as humidity bites at your skin and wriggles into the covers, an unkept sterile bed. They always confuse her for the empress. In the beckoning of summer, her pinch is even more delectable. The emotional pain brushes, and soft glances stand as she stands strongly, ready for her season. And that was Cancerian season. I think as it ties nicely to something that Shoki said earlier, and also a question you had, Douglas, I will do Africa Sings. I'll try and do a slightly shorter version. It's quite a long poem. Africa Sings, blessed me. Say hello to your children, ma. Here lie I, the child of Hampshire, port baby of Devon, raised by double household. What is homeland? What is home? Who is she? Africa Sings across Facebook, across Instagram, sometimes. A whole universe on Twitter, subgroup by subtype, by subcontinent, by subs per city. Songs that belong to a many. Africa Sings. Multi-voiced records, poets across an expanse I've barely touched. But play me an Afro beat, let me show you what Mama gave me. Africa hums. Too often I've been titled Ma. I am the wandering one. No partner, no children, rule-breaking writer, a liability. No ring will tame her, as it didn't for many of my ancestors. Africa laughs, and bless you, she laughs long and loud. She has foreseen pain, misrepresented, mistreated, torn, tethered, tortured, terrorized. Yet generation on generation, new writers are created. They emerge. They emerge. Africa calls. To me, I cannot obey the command. If these arms could grow feathers, I would fly across the lines of my DNA to watch her dawns and dusks endlessly, yet to travel from my here to her now, the domains of a country which I currently reside in, and scrapping it forward because it's a timing. So many fossils of my existence, new contracts are made on the daily. Old friends that I miss so much, generational findings, new friends that I find daily. The diaspora is loud, big, and proud. And migration across any identity is never straightforward. It leaves scraps of humanity everywhere. Africa can be found. So let me take you to a club with a glass of something something, and I'll release all agony and energy into the night air, half singing words that I'm yet to know, a language I'm still learning to speak. And guys, if we still have the second of time, would you like the actual proper free roaming adult woman? Because I'm very conscious of timing here. Shall I give you the actual title piece of the book?
Absolutely. Please.
Let's
do.
go for it. So this was partly called this because this is one of my most popular poems by far, but also I love saying it. So let's go for it. Free roaming adult woman. Aubergine cooking, meeting leading, potato peeling, off the leash, hands to the ceiling. I am a free roaming adult woman. Mortgage managing, calendar haggling, boss creating, boss commanding, lovophilia, curly girl de rigor. I am a free roaming adult woman. Flouncy pink gingham, one bedroom kingdom, overtalk the walk talk the trading, up for the moonlight, bored of the hay babies. I am a free roaming adult woman. Grateful for the side looks, growing to understand the sadness, paying back the lessons, becoming hard in the madness. Future completely open door, Jane Door to the chances. I am a free roaming adult woman. Trying rap because it's tough, writing new diamonds on the rough, falling in love with the gaps between the laser guard stanzas, liking my femme, my funk, and masculinity where it hammers. I am a free roaming adult woman. I'm free forming. Struggle to get up in the morning. Chat your ear off if you let me. In jokes about Maya Angelou lines. If you get me. Free flowing, free spirited, free to the internet, but currently locked down from it. 5G roaming grown up woman. And that is all she wrote.
Wow. That was
Nice.
great. That was amazing. Thank you.
Pleasure.
So as of right now, is there a place to pre-order your book?
Yes, very shortly. I'm in conversation at the moment for when we're just doing the final upload of the. Oh, thank you. Final final upload ready for the cover. Once that's all sorted and stuff, it will be up for a link for Amazon.
Okay.
Praying for me. I'll be able to put it on social media soon, and then yeah, we'll give you a shout because we're thinking March time for formal release. But
Okay.
literally, watch the.
Yeah. Let us know so we can put it with this link when we put it up. Um, yeah, no, I love you. I feel like I'm just now meeting you, even though we've interacted before, but I love you. Um, Douglas, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the work that you just recited is actually quite different from what I've read of you, what the excerpts I've read of yours, or the earlier excerpts I read. The flow is different. It's a little more prosaic, I guess,
Mhm.
which is good. I think your style is definitely like your own, and you seem to have deviated from your earlier style a little bit.
Mhm.
But I can definitely appreciate like the current iteration of who you are now. And I do want to check out like your whole body of work just to like have more familiarity with, with where you started as to where you're now developing now, and also where you're gonna go, you know.
Thank you.
So yeah,
Thank you. I love that because there's always space for growth, and as I experienced with the spoken word, ways that things return as well. So like I love that. Thank you for that.
yeah,
I love you, Shocky.
Yes, you have a very contagious energy. And I think he's not going to say it, but I think Dougie Fresh is a little bit of a fangirl for you. He even grew his beard out for this, so you know.
Specifically, yeah, I was waiting 4 months for this. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so honored. Oh my God.
We didn't know about it till 2 months ago, but you know, we'll let it go. um, but yeah, no, thank you so much for coming through today. I appreciate it. Like I said, this will be up on YouTube and Spotify, hopefully by the end of the day. It just depends on how productive I am today. That's saying a lot. I haven't been very productive.
You're good.
Um, but yes, for those of you listening, please make sure to go out and get Genevieve's book when it comes out in March. I'm really excited about it, and
Yeah,
I'm
same.
getting it because it has a pink cover. Um, I love pink, which is it's funny because you said you actually abhor it, but it's like even though I'm very masculine, like pink has always been my favorite color. So it's always this. Um, I get the jarring aspect of it, but I will be excited to have that on my shelf. Um, so before we go, anything else? What do you want to leave the world on this? Like, I don't know, what message would you send to someone trying to do what you're doing?
Sure. Well, for start, also, adore you both. Thank you so much for starting off my year, and particularly with like a few things that have kind of gone a bit wonky in the last couple of days. Like this has been the best thing. So thank you for the opportunity to chat to you both and like just like vibe together. It was so cool. If I was to leave sort of like a message about doing this thing that I'm doing, finding your vibe, and actually I'll tie to stuff that both of you said there really because it's true. Like be open to your style and changes and listen to people as they kind of add bits and pieces and go, oh yeah, I quite like that, and this was different to this, and I want to see like all like that's glorious. Like people wanting to know about you and your thoughts and ideas. Like it generally surprised me. As I said, I often put myself slightly to the side. Always thought I was meant to be slightly off stage because I thought that I was too much for the world, and it turns out the world wanted it and a lot of it. Challenge yourself. And said, like, funny enough, pink is growing. Yeah, I'm growing to it. I'm actually starting to wear a lot more of it and go, actually, no, mum's right. It does work with the complexion. It's good. Because and I'm trying to do more of that. That's like one of the resolutions of this year is actually deliberately try and do stuff that scares me, you know, that I'm not comfortable with because you'll find something out of it. And and the friends who I studied with when I was in university and school and college who've stuck the path have all done a variation of something that they thought they were going to do. It might not have been exactly it. There'd been, podcasts didn't exist when they were graduating, or this particular sort of online TV show didn't exist, but they took the opportunity because they were open to learn, to listen, and things like that. So there is definitely space for you. It's a broad community, whatever you do. There is space. You get to decide, and you get to decide how. I would say to survive it, because it is hard work, have a bit of a business plan. It's the thing I'm working on at the moment this year. Have a bit of a business plan because you do have to take care of yourself and you have a right to. But you'll be surprised if you put those business plans in, if you love the people you meet and get excited to meet new people, the world will actually take care of you too. And for me, that's my now religious belief a little bit of kind of like the universe is actually totally on your side. I don't actually agree with that now completely. And will take care of you. But you've got to put the work in. You've got to be open to it not being exactly to plan. Just be ready to pivot a little bit. And then, yeah, you get to do this.
Yes, and I agree. The world is definitely a better place with you in it. So thank you so much. Um, Again, this has been another episode of the Out Loud podcast in conjunction with the Out Loud anthology, giving voice to queer artists and writers and poets. So thank you all for coming. You can also get a copy of this anthology at reddergreenbooks.com. I may have a copy or two if you want to, support me as well. But mainly make sure that you go out and support Genevieve Ray. I would tell you to follow her on social media, but they shut her down. Whenever Meta stops acting that way, definitely give her a follow. Um, but other than that, thank you, Douglas. Anything you want to say before I stop the recording?
No, I mean, I feel like, I'm really excited to see how you begin to synthesize, your theatrical world and your poetry world, and what your later aspirations are going to be, and also, what doors will open for you once the book comes out. And hopefully you can, like, tour around, and you could also, like, hit up the States, and maybe come over to New York, or come over to the East Coast, or come over to wherever, and, like, do tour stops. And I'd love to meet you in person,
Same. Oh,
and
legit same.
and see you live, like, do your thing.
Thank you. That means the world. Thank you so much.
Yeah.